Greetings everyone. As we approach the end of the year, I wanted to share this screencast to walk you through your options for handling Google Classrooms as part of your year-end closeout. The year this was made was the year of our coronavirus pandemic, so I may make reference in this video to that closure. However, the options for closeout will be the same for any year, providing new features or changes are not pushed out by Google. In this screencast, we will look at 3 options for closing out the year with Google Classroom and the pros and cons of each. Then I will provide you a quick screencast of each option. Because this year has been so unique with the closure, the option you choose this year may not be the same option you selected in the past or in the future. However, you can choose different options each year without any issues. While I will present the 3 options, and I know all 3 options have been utilized by teachers across our district, I will say that one of the options is not my favorite, so I apologize in advance for any editorial tone that may come across as I present that option. If you find the option works for you, then by all means use it. For me, it's just not my favorite. Now, let's take a brief look at the 3 options, beginning with option number 1, which involves archiving the classrooms. When you archive a classroom, you'll be moving the classroom, its students, and all announcements, assignments, and materials into an archive area of your Google Classroom. This will move the classroom for both the teacher, any co-teachers, and all students. This is probably the most popular option amongst teachers because it keeps old classrooms off your main dashboard, but the material and the assignments are still available to past students. You can also access and reuse material from your archived classrooms in future classrooms as well. And when archived, classrooms are no longer active for students in the sense they can no longer post comments or submit new work. A couple downsides to this option is that you, as the teacher, can no longer post new work in an archived classroom. While you can use material from the archived classroom in subsequent years, you can't post materials into an archived classroom. So if over the summer you want to post summer work or a summer announcement to students from the prior year, you'll not be able to do that. Additionally, archived classrooms are no longer on your main screen. So to access it, both the teacher and the student need to click on the hamburger icon in the top left corner of their screen and go into the archived classroom area. Option number 2 involves keeping the classroom active and on your main screen, but deleting all students from that classroom. This option keeps the same classroom year over year. All the material remains in the classroom, all assignments you created, posts you pushed out, everything remains intact. But by deleting the students, though, you're able to enroll next year's group of students and have a framework of all the assignments and announcements from the prior year already staged and set up in the classroom. Then you can simply tweak the assignments as the new year progresses. This option also keeps the number of folders on your Google Drive to a minimum, since each new classroom creates a new folder on your Google Drive. Those of you who do access files through Drive will find that this option cuts down on the number of folders. A downside to this option is that all students lose access to the classroom once you delete them. They will not be able to access any material or announcements from any active classroom or archived classroom. The only material that they may have access to is the information that you pushed out as a make a copy for each student or any material you shared with them directly. Announcements, for example, are not shared with students, so they will not be accessible anymore. Another downside to this option is that once you enroll new students for the subsequent year, they will have access to all announcements and assignments that you staged in the prior year. So a student will be able to see work throughout the year. While this option cuts down on time to repost and reassign work throughout the year, I find that this option is my least favorite for many reasons. You can reuse assignments from archived classroom. While this takes a couple extra clicks, in my opinion, it outweighs the negatives of prior students no longer being able to access certain work, and the negative of new students being able to access future work. That being said, some teachers do prefer this option, so I felt the need to include it. The third and final option is keeping the classroom active, but muting students. With this option, you keep the classroom active so it will remain on your main dashboard. This option will allow you to post new material to your students from prior years. So if over the summer you'd like to post something to your prior students, you can, and they'd be able to access it if they check the classroom. However, by muting students, they will not be able to reply, post, or comment in the classroom. So if you have a prolonged period of time that you don't check the classroom, you don't have to worry that a student may have posted inappropriate comments or material. Muted students can still submit work, they just can't leave comments or post on other classmates' work. A couple negatives to this option is that it clutters your dashboard with classrooms from prior years. You can certainly archive the classroom at the end of the summer to take it off your main dashboard, but if you forget to do that, you're going to start accruing a number of classrooms that may become a nuisance on your main dashboard. The same holds true for your students. Students can't archive classrooms, so unless you archive it, they're going to continue to have all these old classrooms on their dashboard as well unless they unenroll from your class. So those are the three options. Let's take a quick look at a screencast for each. If you know which option that you're going to choose, then you can go ahead and jump to the time that's listed on this screen so that you can get past the videos that don't pertain to you. So option number one is probably the easiest and most straightforward option, and that's archiving classrooms. First thing I'll need to do is go to classroom.google.com, and that'll bring me to my dashboard that has all of my active classrooms. You can see that there are three dots next to each of the names of the three classrooms that I have on my dashboard. Those three dots are often called the hot dog icon. We're going to go ahead and use this purple class, which is my demo class. So if I click on the three dots next to the name, an option will appear that says Archive. I can go ahead and click on Archive, and a message pops up that reminds me that I won't be able to update any archived classrooms and that I can access them in my archived class section of my classroom. Just remember, when you archive a classroom, not only does it archive it for you, but it also sends it into the archive area for co-teachers and for students. I'll go ahead and click on the Archive button on that message, and you'll see that it's removed now from my active dashboard. If later on I want to access that archived classroom, all I have to do is click on the hamburger icon, which are the three parallel lines in the top left corner, and I go down to an area called Archived Classes. From here you see that I have a lot of archived classes, but that purple class, that demo class that I just archived, it now appears here in the archived classrooms, and I can actually click on it and access all the materials. You'll see a message down here in the bottom left that says class is archived, restore it to add or edit anything. So I can always restore an archived classroom back to the active area if I want to. And don't forget, and this can be a separate video, but I can also reuse any of these assignments or posts into current classrooms. So if I create a new classroom for next year, I could always reuse one of these posts in that classroom. So archiving it still makes it accessible, it just gets it off of your main screen, and it also makes it so that students can't post or comment anymore. So option two involves keeping the classroom active, so it will always stay on my main dashboard, but deleting all of the students. Remember, one of the advantages to this is that all of the assignments, the announcements, and the posts will remain in the classroom. I will be removing the students so that theoretically next year I could enroll all of my new students, and all the assignments, the posts, and the announcements will already have been created from last year's classroom. So for this one, we're going to keep the classroom in the active dashboard. We're not going to archive it like we did with option number one. All I'm going to do is click on the title, the name of that class. I'm going to go ahead and click over on People. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the top left button. That selects all of the students in my classroom. I'm going to choose the button that says Actions, and I'm going to choose Remove. Now I'm not going to click remove for this video because then I'm going to have to add all of my demo accounts back again. But take my word for it, if I hit remove now, it's going to go ahead and delete all of the students from this classroom, but everything you see on the stream, all of the posts, all the announcements, all the assignments, they will still be there. That's option number two. Option number three involves keeping the Google Classroom active on my main dashboard, and it will remain active on your students' dashboards as well, but muting the students so that they can't respond to any posts, respond to any assignments, or add any comments. To do this, we go ahead and we click on the title of our classroom. We click on the option that says People on the top menu. And we can do this for individual students, or we can do it for all students. To do it for an individual student, I'll simply click on the radio checkbox next to that student's name. Or if I want to do it for all students, I click the top left checkbox and that selects all students. I click on the Actions button and I click the option that says Mute. It's going to show me that I'm going to be muting 9 students. It also tells me what that means. It means that students can still submit work. Other students won't see it, but they can't reply to classmates' work and they can't comment or post. I go ahead and click the Mute button, and you're going to see that all the students now have a red speaker with a line through it. That means that they've all been muted. If I ever want to unmute the students and get them back to be full participants in my classroom, I can simply do the exact same process, but instead of choosing Mute when I click on Actions, I click Unmute. And that's option number 3. So those are 3 options on how to handle your Google Classrooms as part of your year-end closeout. If you have any questions, by all means, reach out. Thank you.